So what I'd like to do now is talk a little bit more about my history. So perhaps one of the major influences on my character is that my great-grandfather was taken and killed in Auschwitz. And he was there for about 2 years, and he handed his coat to a friend in Auschwitz, and then he perished. And as a result of this, not only did he perish, but it meant that I felt that I can't moan about anything. And I feel an absolute responsibility to have joy and to have an insatiable desire to enjoy every minute I can, because he didn't have that opportunity. So I try now to both be as joyous as I possibly can, as mischievous as I possibly can, and hopefully to give as much joy to others as I possibly can. Now, I may well have been like that anyway. It just may have been my DNA. I really don't know. But it just seems to me that we're such a miracle of just being human. Just having 5 million hairs on our body is extraordinary. Having our blood vessels that can stretch 2.5 times around the world. It's just amazing. Just being human is absolutely amazing. Of course, there's always a downside to everything, and I dream now that Hitler comes to attack me with a Stanley knife, and that is terrifying. Partially perhaps why I've gone grey. So I'd like to talk more about the chair and tables now. This was a project called Conversation for 3, and it was done in collaboration with Nottingham University and the Mixed Reality Lab. And it was a tremendous project to work on. What I really wanted was the idea that the table could be talking and contributing to two diners' conversation and dining experience. So here we've got the table with a webcam at the top from the light, which looks at the whole table to see what's going on. The plates have got codes on them, they're called art codes, and the menu that the waiter brings in, they've also got codes on them. And then there's a projector also in the upper lamp, and as you can see, it's projecting these films related to our facial expressions. So inside the vase, on either side, there's a webcam, which is detecting your face and my face, and whatever emotions that we are expressing. And then it collates that emotion over a 20-second period, and then it chooses from that band of emotions, it chooses one of the films randomly, whether it's happiness, surprise, neutral, whatever it is, and then they get projected down onto the table next to your plate. So the plates themselves, as I said, they're coded, so that's a code which shows that it's a certain stage of the dining experience. You've just triggered a surprise, so you get a surprise video. I've surprisingly got a neutral face, and so the waiter would come. Let's reenact this. So I'll be a waiter just for a moment. So I would come and say, "Did you enjoy that? Oh, good. Would you like to choose a dessert?" And now the table is serenading us with some nice music, which is really indicating that dessert is coming. Now, as you may have guessed, that is an art code, and so that was detected by the webcam above, and now has activated the dessert tile for the table. There's also a projector inside the table, and if both diners show neutral in their expressions, then the projector in there brings up a question to just help the conversation along a little bit. And the questions vary from things like, is morality innate? A tricky one. What do you most admire about your grandparents? To what gives you hope? Those sorts of things, just general chitter-chatter, as you can imagine. So then you get the pudding plates, the dessert plates, And I'll show you, without showing the table, there's the code, and then these are codes which will be covered by the food. So as you eat your food, say some nice slices of cake, then it will reveal a little bit of the code, and then that activates a film. What do you think is the greatest invention of all time? That's just helped our conversation along there. It's a tricky one. Is it electricity? Is it the internet? Is it the wheel? Anyway, give it some thought. And so these codes then will produce different films about food consumption. So I'll cover that for the time being. And now if I take my hand off, which is basically food, it will start to show you an ARC code and some projection, hopefully, to do with eating food. I don't know why that's not gone there. Let me put this one here. Oh, here we go. ARC code detected. There we go. So now we've got some films related to food consumption. I think you've got a film that was done, I think, in the 1930s by a German chap who developed these X-ray films. And the salt and pepper cellar, you may have noticed, they rotate. So if I take a drink, because it's quite thirsty work, as I'm sure it is for you, just chatting away, that should activate the salt and pepper cellar to rotate, oh, there he goes, 360 degrees. And I read in the New Scientist, there was an experiment that scientists did where they put electrodes onto a yucca plant, and then the owner of the, the house came and put the keys into the front door, and the electrical activity on the yucca plant went absolutely berserk. It went so active, indicating perhaps that the yucca plant was excited. It may not have been this, but it indicated that the yucca plant was excited about seeing the house owner. And I really like that. It seemed really nice, rather like a dog wagging its tail when the owner comes in. So I like the idea that the table is excited, so the salt and pepper cellar do a 360-degree turn when the diners come to have their drinks. So then you get the menu. Finally, some information. Oh, that's a nice one of some food consumption. The final information about the table is also an ARC code and should trigger the conclusion of the experience. And that does conclude the experience. Here we go. And this was meant for when it went into the Broadway cinema in Nottingham. So it was all film related. So there's a series of the conclusion of films, the last minute of a series of films that are selected randomly. So while the diners are paying their bill, they're serenaded with a final conclusion of a film. And that's it. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed it.